Hi, welcome to Brown Girl Book Lover. I'm Leslie Ann Murray, and this is Maisy Card. And today we're talking about her debut novel, These Ghosts Are Family. This is such a great title. Welcome, Maisy.
Thank you for inviting me.
So tell me about how did the idea of the book get started?
I first started writing, I guess one of the chapters when I was in grad school. I went to Brooklyn College MFA in 2006. At that point, I wasn't thinking of it as a novel. I was just writing short stories kind of about Jamaican families centered on Jamaican people. You know, years after I graduated, I kind of had this idea of making them all in the same family. It kind of coincided with me doing kind of genealogical research into my own family, and also just kind of looking at the way my family has changed. The longer we've kind of been in America and the more of us immigrate here, we've kind of just been a bit divided. So I had the idea of like studying or writing about how that kind of fracture occurred through a fictional family.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, because when I read the novel, it felt like I was reading short stories, and then it's like being merged thematically, and then across characters. And how was it to like have these independent stories and then merge them all together?
It was difficult, I guess. Managing the timeline was very difficult, but I think the characters felt like they naturally fit together to me. And there was probably a third of it that I wrote before I decided it was like a connected book, and then there's the rest that I wrote with that in mind. That helped me kind of merge the disparate pieces. But I think I'm actually a fan of the novel in stories form.
Me too. When I was reading your book, I told you, I sent you a text message. I'm like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. On this sentence level, it was beautiful. The introduction was just breathtaking.
Oh.
One of the things I love is, speaking about craft and sentence level, is the fact that you were very creative. You didn't say, well, I'm a debut novelist, I just have to stick with the conventions and write from top to bottom. It just moves all over. There's like stories that are numbered, stories that are in different times and different voices. And that's very ambitious and very brave, right? How come you didn't follow the conventions?
I think because I worked on this for so long, maybe from 2006, and I think we sold it at maybe 2018, but I still made a ton of edits after it was sold and added 30,000 words after it was sold. I feel like I realized that I have to do things to keep myself interested in the project. Like there are so many points where I was like, oh, nobody wants it. I should just stop. But then I would just come back in and make a drastic change. You know what I mean? And that helped me stay interested. So sometimes when I'm like playing with voices or point of view, it's just a way for me to get reinvigorated, to feel reinvigorated when I'm writing the story.
Yeah. Tell me about, why do you love this book?
I think I love it, and maybe it's like I think it's a cliche, like sometimes that your first book is always the book that's like semi-autobiographical or something, and I wouldn't say it is. I feel like it has a lot of personal truth in it, and I see characters that are dealing with the emotions that I would imagine my parents have dealt with, only they won't talk to me about it. It's kind of just me imagining what it's like to go through life as different people that I'm very familiar with. And that made me like have a different layer of empathy or love for them that I didn't have. Not that I don't have, but that maybe when I was growing up I would get so frustrated. I mean, we were talking before this with like like Caribbean parents sometimes not being open or affectionate or complimentative, and so I think this book was trying to understand them on a level, imagining that I can understand them even though they're not really opening up to me that way.
As a Jamaican American writer, how are you celebrating your culture and highlighting it with writing?
I think with this book, a lot of it was about that too. I think writing with in patois, having the dialect, be a part of it. And I know that it's something that's difficult for some people who are not from that culture, but I feel like it is that culture, and there's no way to really write about Jamaican people realistically without, you know, having to speak in patois.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and I did want to like show history, and I wanted to show folklore and culture, and that was really important to me, and tradition in this book.
Yeah, one more thing about patois, I really love that you used it, and it was important for us to just understand these characters and where they're coming from and their true identity, right? Localize them in that language. And were you apprehensive about using it, or when you started writing, you're like, they're going to speak this way?
I always knew that they were going to speak this way, but you know, whenever I read a book where people are speaking patois, I always like notice it. Like ever since I was young, I've always like noticed what kind of what would you say compromises they make, because you know that a lot of your readers will not be familiar with it. So I think the you know, I did study like different writers and you know, kind of come up with my own kind of version of it. But yeah, I always knew that I wanted to do it. But yeah, you know, you always wonder, it's like, are you gonna write THE, like, or are you gonna write like DE or DI? You know what I mean? There's so many. I went back and forth in a lot of things, and I changed a lot of things.
Yeah, but it's understandable, and I love that there was no translation, right? We understand it, and I thought it was well done. Tell me about what are you working on next?
So yeah, I did sell another book concept, I guess, and it's set in America. It's a novel set in Florida, and it's a group of Jamaican, different immigrant home health aides working in a wealthy retirement community in Florida. It's still very in the early stages, and a lot of things might change, so I don't want to say too much about it. But I wanted it to focus on a group of immigrant women, but not like kind of be like The Help, where there's this like savior who comes in and organizes them. I wanted it to be about them kind of taking agency and organizing themselves.
Thank you, Maisy Card. Please buy this book. These ghosts are family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.